In this video, I'm going to give you 5 ways to heal the curse of a Scorpio moon. Okay, not really, no one's really getting healed. At the end of the video, you're still going to be a Scorpio moon. But these are 5 ways to help you sometimes manage the difficult emotional roller coaster that comes with living and being a Scorpio moon. Now, this is a great video if you are especially in a moment of just scorpionic self-hate and anger and frustration, and you're mad at things and you just wish you could go back, or you mess something up. This is a great video to really reframe and to really help you kind of start channeling that Scorpio energy back in a positive direction. I know it's hard, but maybe this will help. Give it a chance. Like, what else are you gonna do? Number 1, forgive yourself. That sounds so dumb and lame. Like, all right, forgive myself. What is that gonna do? Well, if you're thinking like that, you probably never have actually truly forgiven yourself, or you're not really thinking about it in the right way. There's so much intensity that comes from a Scorpio moon placement, and it comes from wanting to have a lot of control over things. It comes from being aware of power in the world, being aware of power dynamics, being aware of your own power and your own capacity to hurt, and the power of your own desire, the power of your own will to escape feeling pain, right? The power with which you feel pain. Scorpio moons know this, they feel this, they understand this at the pre-speech, at the intuitive level. And there are going to be a lot of times throughout a Scorpio moon's life where they are going to make mistakes, right? Their emotions are going to get the best of them. They're going to appear to be foolish, or they're going to do something that they think makes them foolish. They are going to get met with reactions of like, what is wrong with you? Or like, why did you do that? Or like, what the hell? Like, you know what I'm talking about if you have a Scorpio moon, where something triggered you and you just had like an insane emotional reaction, or you lost your temper, whatever. Could be at school, in the workplace, maybe in a relationship, maybe in front of a group of friends. Just accept it. Accept that you did it, right? You just gotta say, yes, I did that. Next time I'm gonna try and do better. That wasn't great. But the desire to hold on to it and to replay it, and the psychic memory and the emotional memory of exactly what happened is so powerful with a Scorpio moon. And there's such a resistance to moving on from it. And until you kind of let go of it and move on, it's going to be really hard to, channel some more positive vibes, for lack of a better phrase. Just really accept yourself. And it doesn't mean that you have to say like what you did was great, or it doesn't mean that you're ignoring what actually happened. This isn't like a faux positivity thing. It's literally just saying, look, I made this mistake, I did it, but I accept it. I accept that I did it, and I'm gonna learn from it, and I'm still an okay person. I'm still okay. What I did doesn't define me. I am not that thing. I did it. Okay, time to move on. All right, number 2. Now you need to know yourself, know thyself, right? You have to become aware, and if you're not already, realize that your reactions to things and your sensitivity and your intensity may not be matched by everyone that you meet. It may not be matched in every relationship. And just because that's the case, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, or it doesn't mean that you should change yourself, or you need to modulate the person that you are. Scorpio moon, I mean, a lot of people are so magnetically attracted to their energy, right? They feed off that intensity. Like, they wish that they could demonstrate an ounce of that passion that maybe a Scorpio moon has just in a pinky. Other people, of course, like, are not gonna want to touch you with like a 20-foot pole. I'm sure you know that, right? They can just see it. Maybe they can just see it in your brow, in your furrowed brow. A lot of Scorpio moons are notorious for their furrowed brow. In order to start getting some ability to really kind of emotionally self-regulate and really channel some of the powers of a Scorpio moon, you have to really understand yourself. So that comes from things like journaling. Journaling is a great way to just kind of get everything down, and once you get down the emotions and stuff like that, you can kind of start seeing some of the patterns, some of the whys. Like, why do I feel this way? Or like, why do I feel a need to control something like this? Engage other resources that are available, like other astrological texts, other videos like this on YouTube, like what's it like being a Scorpio moon? Find one that's like by someone that is actually favorable, or understands Scorpio energy, like in a positive way. There's a lot of people that are just haters out there and they just say, oh, these people suck. It's oversimplification. It's also like not helpful, but there's so much out there that'll really help you like learn yourself, but also see, being a Scorpio moon is like this unique sort of superpower. And yes, there's liabilities, and yes, it can cause damage, but you can kind of see, and compare what you've experienced with kind of what other people have experienced. And there's this real like tribalism. There's kind of this feeling of, wow, we're kindred spirits and I'm not alone out here. And this is kind of why I do things like this. And do things like that and write and read and see what really like stokes your soul. That is really important. You've accepted yourself, but you have to take responsibility for kind of knowing yourself. And it's not just a responsibility, it's a privilege. It's something that a Scorpio moon will want to really do. Some people are terrified of like what they look like on the inside, and those people suck. But Scorpio moons want to dig in, and thankfully, like in this day and age, with all the media and books and digital stuff out there, there's so much content for you to do that. So embrace it. Number 3, you have to understand that you're going to have to learn to truly love yourself first, like really build that skill before you're going to really be able to have a successful romantic relationship, if that's something that you're looking for. So this might not be true for all Scorpio moons, but a lot of Scorpio moons that I know crave intimacy, right? They crave soul connection. They want to merge with a romantic partner, right? And one of the biggest afflictions of a Scorpio moon is a sense of loneliness, right? It's a sense of, wow, I experience so much, I feel so much, I want someone to share this with. And the rapture also that like a Scorpio moon feels during the process of falling in love and being in love and momentarily like feeling that connection with another person is truly incredible, because again, they're just so sensitive to those feelings, those experiences, right? They feel a lot of things with such intensity. And a Scorpio moon is nothing if not an extremely kind of magnetic individual. So there usually will be many opportunities for a Scorpio moon to have those kind of romantic experiences and enjoy them, right? Just because you may not be experienced or know how to like love yourself yet doesn't mean you shouldn't be out there dating or meeting new people, right? Like it's all just like a journey and it's a growth process. I'm just saying that it's not uncommon for a lot of Scorpio moons to have to go through a lot of trial and error when it comes to relationships, because relationships are usually the battleground and the testing facility and the lab for them to really learn a lot more about themselves and to really see themselves in situations where they've never seen themselves before. So, all right, in layman's terms, it just means emotions can be really activated in moments of love, and a lot of themes that are so pertinent to the Scorpio moon journey of like control and possession and ownership and eternity and commitment and trust, vulnerability, like all these things are so important in a relationship, right? And so the moment that a Scorpio moon person starts developing really strong feelings for someone, this is going to be a time when those things are triggered, right? Is the Scorpio moon person going to feel jealousy, right? Are they going to try and feel like they have to like control the other person, or do they find themselves unintentionally, wanting to subtly control things because they're afraid that they're going to get abandoned, or they're afraid that they're going to get cheated on, or they're afraid that maybe the other person is going to leave them or lose feelings for them. All those things are normal fears in the context of relationships, especially in new ones when people are kind of learning. For Scorpio moons, it's just harder because I feel like the mistakes they make in terms of learning like what is okay behavior and what isn't are painful. Like it can lead to breakups, right? It can, a lot of Scorpio moons relationships can end because they do things that just push the other person too far, or just like you can't come back from. All this is to say is that this just tends to be an area where Scorpio moon is going to experience a lot of suffering, right? And trial and error until they kind of learn the lessons and they become a little bit more mature in this arena. And instead of thinking about that process as like, ooh, I have to, you know, not be jealous or not do this, or have to like not do those things, it's more, that's more a process of like trying to solve problems at, you know, at the external level, like after they're already kind of out there. Really to kind of nip that stuff in the bud, a Scorpio moon really should think about how to love oneself and how to think about how to feel safe in one's own frame, and in how to make themselves sort of feel okay despite uncertainty, despite the possibility of pain, despite the possibility of abandonment or rejection. Because if a Scorpio moon is doing the things they need to do to love themselves, to nurture themselves, to you know, protect themselves, when those things do happen, they are gonna suck, like, you know, like a rejection or something, it is gonna suck, but it's a little bit less jarring because Scorpio moon has still like cultivated some ground for themselves to stand on. And this process is always hard because Scorpio moons aren't a kind of, it's not a kind of personality set that wants to completely be independent and just like make a relationship just a side thing. It's very much all or nothing. And so even just keeping a few things just for themselves is really hard to balance, having some things for you and giving a lot to the relationship, but not everything is a skill. But over time, Scorpio moons will develop it, and it's going to make relationships a lot easier. And ultimately, like, the right person is going to have patience with you as you kind of develop that and become mature in that process. And if someone is like hates you or detests you or has dropped you or said like you're too much, they just like weren't the right person for you. Like, granted, maybe you like did some stupid things like you probably shouldn't have done, but the right person will like have patience. They'll set boundaries, but they'll have patience. So if something didn't work out with someone, it's really not because, oh, you made this awful mistake. It's more just like, it wasn't really meant to be. On to the next one. Fourth, a Scorpio moon will need to always have some outlet for their soul and some structured, consistent ability to express themselves at a soul level. What do I mean by that? Well, Scorpio moons can keep like a very strong poker face. They can go be successful in their job. They can work very hard, and they, you know, are tenacious when they've set a goal. And all those things can be things that bring some sense of security or material stability to the Scorpio moon, or, you know, what society tells us we should do. And so there's like a satisfaction, I guess, that comes from that. And Scorpio moon doesn't have to like throw all that out. Like, those are all good things. But if those are the only things motivating a Scorpio moon's life, there's just going to be a bigger and bigger shadow that's just going to keep, you know, burgeoning and burgeoning, and the dissonance between whatever that soul needs and is calling for and, you know, the majority of how the person is spending their day-to-day life, it's going to get bigger, you know, more dissonance. It's just going to create problem. And even at the subtle level, like a Scorpio moon is just going to be very depressed on the inside if they don't have a way to express their true authenticity. That's what I mean by like expressing the soul. They need to express something that makes them feel like most themselves, most unique, regardless of what that is. And the challenge is that sometimes some people get so kind of path dependent on a certain way of life or a certain focus, they feel like they can't like go back, or it's too late, or it doesn't matter, or maybe they have to like make money doing it. None of those things are really true. Although they are true in the sense that what we do carries a lot of inertia with it, right? And so sometimes it does get harder to like pull back and get in touch again with like what's on the inside. But it's essential that a Scorpio moon find that, because otherwise they're gonna get angry, they're gonna get grumpy, like in a large sense, not in moments, but like they're gonna get crabby, they're gonna get depressed, their life force is gonna sort of deplete. They need to find something, and maybe that's just like doing bad art. Like maybe it's like coloring or doing watercolors just like alone, like a child would, and everyone might like make fun of them. Who cares? And like also, who are these people making fun of them? If those are like your friends, like get new friends. Like do something you always wanted to do, like take a class, like do something that excites and maybe scares you. You need to find some way to let it out. Otherwise, usually a Scorpio moon that doesn't have outlets for the soul is going to get more into like darker behavior, like addiction or drinking or drug use, or they're going to be looking for almost like a fix. But if you're a Scorpio moon, think about like what this means to you. Think about how you can do it. A question you can ask yourself is like, when do I feel most myself? When do I feel most alive? And the reason this is like, a number in a video that I call like healing the soul of Scorpio moon is that when a Scorpio moon actually builds in time towards investing in this activity, it's like the rest of their being kind of softens and their emotions soften. And so they're really like hard edges of a Scorpio moon kind of personality and their emotions and thought process. Those edges soften, right? And you start to see more of the kind of selfless, loving, intuitive, emotional for the purpose of helping people. Those kind of qualities start coming out rather than more of the frustrated, vindictive, controlling, like hypercritical. Like all those things are evidence of kind of a blocked Scorpio moon, of a cursed Scorpio moon. And so think about ways to open oneself up, and only you are going to know what that is for you. But think about it. Doing some hardcore athletics, really important. Taking care of the body, doing running, weightlifting, that can be a great outlet. But I will say that it can't be a complete replacement for this like soul activity, right? It's got to be a supplement. The working out alone is tough because that also kind of turns into its own thing, and without some awareness can like sometimes become a Scorpio moon addiction in a self-criticism vehicle, right? It's important for energetic outlets to exist, to do exercise, but there needs to be some form of expression, of creation, in my opinion, for Scorpio moon to like truly be healthy and aligned. All right, number 5. And this one, again, these are all just kind of like ideas, just suggestions. Number 5, though, I do think it's valuable for a Scorpio moon person to have some type of spirituality or life philosophy or very like salient value system that holds either a strong place in their life or like they hold it close to their attention. So they have, it's either like something intuitive that they kind of approach life with, or maybe it's like a saying or certain sayings or certain reminders that they'll make themselves look at, or at least just like have around the house. Maybe it's like stuff written down in a journal, just like little nuggets or quotes even to kind of remind a Scorpio moon of like what's important to them, what they want to be important to them. Some people kind of do this by like creating literally like the handbook for you. And so it's a little notebook and you kind of write or cut and paste or clip like all these various like sayings or little credos or philosophies or even memories, things that just kind of like help you, help bring you back when you get misaligned. With Scorpio moon, there's always this like constant battle. It's a battleground for literally the emotional life, the inner life, the soul life. It's a battle for that soul life between higher and lower forces. And when it's kind of overtaken and when it's kind of just really occupied by these dark lower forces, it's a really scary and dark place. And sometimes it's already very dark before it gets very bad. And Scorpio moon sometimes is not even able to realize just what a negative state they're in until maybe many years down the road, or when they're able to get in more of a lighter state of being, they can see, wow, holy shit, like I was not in a good frame of mind. You know, like a formal religion, I feel like a lot of Scorpio moons are probably not huge fans of just like a formal religion, but some kind of spirituality. There's so many different examples, whether it's a physical spiritual practice like yoga is so good for a Scorpio moon, or meditation, those kind of things. Anything that really gets Scorpio moon thinking about how powerful energy is and how powerful these invisible things are, and these in the reality that they are very affected by things that are invisible. They're affected by things that exist outside the material world, and that without some kind of spiritual framework, things can get both dark, but things can also get off track. Like Scorpio moon is always going to be going through trial and error. They're always going to be effing up. They're always going to be making mistakes, but having some kind of a spiritual inclination is just going to help be like a check and balance system, right? And I think it's tremendously helpful. So if you're Scorpio moon and you've been going through it, or you've been feeling like, man, this is such a tough placement, that's just another thing to keep in mind. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.